Hello, my name is Peter Renner, and my wish is to assist you in establishing a wonderful, helpful, healthful meditation practice. And to do so, we need to sit in a certain way. You've seen people sitting upright on cushions, monks and such. You may have your own experience. Certainly, as part of yoga, there's usually some meditation component. Or you've been to some meditation group, or you've seen videos. Let's establish some very basic postures that will help you develop your own meditation practice, because each of our bodies are different, other circumstances differ. So the kind of meditation that we will be practicing, although it is based in Buddhist practice, you don't have to be a Buddhist. You don't have to sign up for anything like that, any membership. We don't even mention the word Buddha very often, or rarely. It's in fact a secular form of meditation that arises and is based on Buddhist meditation. My own training has been in Zen, and I've been working with cancer patients for the last few years, helping them using meditation as a way of living with pain, with fear, with loss. That's just one application. Meditation can be a wonderful adjunct to your yoga practice, to your physical activities, anything that you do for your body, heart, and mind, so that you can live a more balanced, less stressful life. So mindful meditation, as this is called, by definition, is a practice where we learn and practice to become and be aware moment by moment of what goes on inside of our body and immediately around us. And to do so without judgment of whether it's good or bad, whether we're good at it or not, or whether the thoughts that we notice are useful or not, or emotions. Really, we're trying to practice self-acceptance, self-compassion. This is a wonderful self-care. It's taking care by doing nothing, really, but paying attention, noticing, and bringing the awareness back from wherever it wanders off again and again to this moment and this breath. So that's essentially what this recording and others will be aimed at, is to support you in practicing meditation. To begin with, we need to agree on some basic sitting postural instructions. And every time we sit for the first time. So even if you have meditated before, in whatever setting or context or style, it doesn't matter. Please don't be insulted if I take you back to the basics, because every time we sit, whether it's you and I, or my teacher at a monastery who's been meditating for 40 years, every time we sit, we set the ground rules. Not so much the ground rules, we follow some basic rules. We set a foundation before we get into whatever that may entail. We need to make sure our body is safely established. We have a posture that allows us to sit for 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes without great discomfort or without doing any kind of injury to ourselves. So if you're sitting on the floor, which is the traditional posture, on a cushion, you already know how to do this. I will not teach you anything about lotus or half lotus or quarter lotus. If you're sitting on the floor and you're crossing your legs, as we do naturally when we sit, make sure that your knees, who are sort of sticking out to the sides, are well supported and are in contact with the floor. Now for some, many people, and I'm not one of them, that is no problem. You can sit upright, you have a little cushion under your buttocks, and your knees touch the floor, and you look ready to go. If your knees are not touching the ground, your legs are apt to get tired, and we start hunching over, and that's counterproductive. So just notice if you're sitting on a cushion whether you could benefit from having a rolled up towel or blanket or a block or some cushion under your knees so that they are firmly supported through this device into the ground. I will spend a little bit more time on sitting on a chair because this may be a good way to do it. You don't really need any special equipment. You don't need to sit on the floor on a cushion. Just find yourself a chair that is reasonably firm, meaning it has very little padding and has no armrests. If you can't find one, that's okay, but that's what we're aiming for as the ideal, just a plain chair. And you will notice that the chair, the backrest, slopes away from the body. And that's fine for all kind of other purposes, although not for long sitting. But for meditation, we want to sit as upright as possible, to have the spine as erect from the head down to the sitz bone, into the seat, into the buttocks, into the seating surface of the chair. And then your legs sloping downwards slightly from the hip towards the knee, transferring some of the weight onto the feet. So this way we're balanced between feet on the ground, buttocks on the chair. Do that right now, please. Just sit like you normally would sit, and then make sure, going from bottom upwards, that the feet are flat on the floor, soles touching the floor. Kick off your shoes and socks or stockings if you wish. Want to have a good sense of being grounded. And then, traveling upward, see whether the knees are in relation to your hips. The knees should be lower, meaning you should sit slightly higher than the knees, because that creates a slope downward and thus a shifting and sharing of the weight away from the lower back. You can adjust that either now or sometime on your own, by either sitting higher by putting a cushion under your buttocks, or putting a cushion or a couple of thick books under your feet if you want to bring the knees up. So just play with that. But not now. Just make a note. And then the upright posture, for that, it helps even to the experienced meditators to remember or to imagine a balloon. You know, one of those birthday balloons that floats, helium balloons, that is attached to the back of your head, and with its gentle upward tug, it pulls on your upper spine, where the last few vertebrae hold your skull, and it stretches them ever so lightly. And it also does, because it pulls up from behind, it nudges your chin downward towards the heart. Just a tiny little forward tug. And that opens up the breathing passages. If you bend forward too much, then your neck will hurt and you will actually cut off your breathing. So play with that. It's a little swivel action. If the head is too far back, it strains the voice and pinches the back of the neck. And if it's too far forward, it pinches the breathing and stretches the neck. And the same with seated on the chair. Sway backwards and forwards ever so slowly and lightly, and notice how the weight shifts. So much of our weight is in the upper body, and the head is the furthest away from this swivel point. So just move backwards and forwards and notice how the weight shifts onto the feet and onto the lower back. And then find a sweet spot in the middle somewhere. And you may have to do this again and again as we go along, because if we get tired, sometimes we tend to slump forward. Or if the back gets tired, we kind of curve the spine. And then things get out of whack and the balance is off. All right. So there we have a basic sitting posture. Now, what about the eyes? You can have the eyes open, nothing wrong. But I suggest, certainly at the beginning, and many people do it always when they practice meditation, is to close the eyes, not pinching them, just gently closing the eyes, as if you're drawing the curtains. There will still be some light coming in through your eyelids. And if you like to have a bit more light, you can open your eyes partially and see the light coming through your eyelashes for what is called a soft gaze. So feet, buttocks, lower back, head, neck, eyes. What about the hands? Chances are you already have your hands resting in a place that is comfortable, because they naturally fall somewhere. You could just leave them there. There's no requirement for you to hold the hands in any particular way, although you may have noticed people sitting a certain way and holding the hand in some kind of praying configuration, or especially in yoga, people often have their palms pointing upwards and even having the thumbs and index finger touching. If that works for you, please do it. Otherwise, just have the hands resting, palm up, palm down. It doesn't matter. As long as you don't end up pulling up on your arms and shoulders and your head disappears like a turtle's in the protection of your shoulders, and that only causes further tension and interferes with breathing. So let the shoulders fall naturally and your hands fall naturally on your lap or thighs or knees. And there we have it, the basic meditation posture. Just sitting for a moment. Just noticing the body. You may notice that there are certain messages coming into the brain telling you that there is a body. You may notice the contact of your feet against the floor, or your hands resting, the weight of your hands. Maybe your neck and shoulders are a little stiff, maybe icky. Just notice, don't do anything about it right now. What we're learning in meditation is to become aware. Become aware, and if at all possible, not to interfere, but to become a witness to our own body's functioning, our thoughts, our physical body, and our emotional, our heart. So meditation is really nothing more than sitting still, but sitting still with a purpose. And the purpose is to notice, to observe, to witness. And in the process, all kinds of things will fall into place. But they will be a surprise. We're not setting out in meditation, oh, I'm going to relax now. Have you ever tried to do that? Somebody tells you, oh, just relax. It's virtually impossible. If I'm tense, I'm tense. Oh, cheer up. Well, if I'm sad or not particularly cheerful, then that's how it is. None of those are either good or bad. They simply are. Oh, my mind is all over the place today. I can't concentrate. Well, that's how it is. Trying to concentrate is really quite hard because we add another layer of should and must on top of an already agitated mind. So, in short, meditation is a way of paying close attention to what goes on inside of ourselves and immediately around us, and do so moment by moment, breath by breath. And do so without judging whether it's good or bad, right or wrong, whether the thoughts are appropriate, whether the body aches have a cause or not, where our heart is aching without getting lost in the stories. We're really trying to just become an observer of our own body, made up of the physical, the cognitive, the thinking, and the emotional. And sometimes they can be distinctly observed. Most of the time they're just a soup, a mixture. There's a physical ache that may have to do with an emotional event, and the mind comes in and gives it a name and remembers how it got there. That's just how it is. So there is another guideline for meditation, is for us to become very generous and compassionate towards ourselves. Whatever arises in our awareness arises. Oh, I shouldn't think. Oh, I shouldn't feel this. Oh, I wish that ache would go away. Well, how helpful is that? So the very first thing we do, and that's pretty much most of what meditation is about, is to observe and to accept. To accept that which is. If accept is too strong a word, if it sounds like, oh, am I supposed to like it or dislike it? What if I don't like it? Well, then welcome that. Accept that. We accept everything that comes into our awareness. And that, of course, requires practice, because it runs counter to the way we have lived most of our lives, in the way we're supposed to, have fun, be healthy, relax, be at ease, be happy. So in meditation, we sit in the middle of the chaotic life that we live within ourselves, in the world around us, and in the world at large. There's very little we can control. So why not just sit for a moment and pay attention, not to the big thoughts of life. What's the purpose of my being here? Or where shall I go? And is this the right relationship? But to get very intimate and begin to notice the body as it's functioning, moment by moment, breath by breath, emotion by emotion, physical sensation, one itch, one tingle, one ache. And just notice how everything comes and goes, and nothing really seems to last. The ache that you have now is not the same that you had yesterday. The thoughts that are going through your minds may be familiar, but they are new in this moment. So let's just, by way of finishing our introductory session, let's just sit for a moment and just become aware of the entire body. This body sitting, be it on the cushion, on the floor, or on the chair. Notice where the body touches something, be it the cushion, be it the floor, be it the seat. Notice your hands resting, the weight of your hands. Notice your feet in whatever configurations. Notice your belly. Notice your shoulders. And without forcing anything, simply notice that as you breathe out, you can let go of some tension. You can even make a little sound. Like a sigh. So do 3 exhales, a little longer than normal, and make a little sound. On your own time. And notice what happens, especially in your shoulders and neck. Can you allow a little softening, a little letting go? Can you soften your whole posture without losing that wonderful upright stance? The body will hold itself. It's designed to hold itself. We've got all manner of bones that keep us upright, and the feet on the ground help to balance us. So we can just let go of holding. We can soften our stance a little. And in the process, you may notice this, how busy the mind is, where it goes, into the future, in the past, thinking, describing, labeling, critiquing. You may have noticed some emotions present, the whole gamut from sadness to joy, excitement to boredom. You may have noticed some aches and pains, some tight spots, some tingles, some itching. That is the essence of beginning meditation, is to become aware, to notice, and not interfere. Because over time you will find out that none of these things last, that everything from the minutest event in the body and in the mind to the big events in life have a quality of impermanence. Nothing seems to last. We can discover that by our very own experience, by sitting quietly in the middle of it all, paying attention to whatever arises. So let's stop here for today, or for now. And in the other recordings, you will find very specific techniques that you can practice, and much less talk by me, but more periods of quiet practice time for you. So that's it for now. May your life go well. Thank you.